Welcome back. Yesterday we told you about a new effort that would allow women to literally put themselves on the front lines just like men when it comes to the military. The measure, called the Gender Equality in Combat Act, it would encourage the Department of Defense to end its ground combat exclusion policy for women. Certainly a sensitive issue, and it's kicked up a lot of reaction. Let me just give you a little sampling of what's come in to our offices from you folks. Here's what you're saying about it. One person tweeting, "Women are in combat, period. The semantic distinction is political and nonsensical." Someone else agreed, saying, "If you think women are unfit for combat, you've never been in the military." But others said, "Not so fast." Quote, "It seems to me that you are not equalizing the sexes by permitting women in combat situations." Now, the person who spearheaded this effort is New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and she spoke with Andrew earlier today about the legislation she's drawn up, as well as a lot more.
Yeah, we talked a little bit of debt limit, we talked a little bit of Mitt Romney and Bain Capital, Rich, but we began by talking about the senator's proposal that would allow women access to the front lines. Let's start with your proposal your bill that would put women or give women access to frontline combat status. The arguments in favor of it, I think, are somewhat self-evident. We were speaking with an active duty lieutenant colonel in the Army who said he had concerns about unit cohesion and military readiness with women on frontline positions. What's your response to those concerns?
Well, women are already serving on the front lines today. They're just not getting credit for it. Women are dying in combat. They're in combat positions every single day in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the reality is because they're, quote, ineligible for combat positions, they don't get the benefits that they should have earned because of serving in combat. It also limits their ability to be promoted because some levels of promotion require having served in combat. So if we want to make sure women who are serving side by side with their male colleagues, taking the exact same risks, have the same opportunities, we want to make sure that they're eligible for all positions. They're positions they're already fighting in right now.
Are you suggesting that some of these concerns are somewhat disingenuous?
No, I'm sure they have real concerns, and their concerns should be listened to. But at the end of the day, women are already serving in these roles, and so it's a question really of making sure they get credit for work they've already been doing.
Shifting now to Wall Street and the upcoming elections, we've heard from Newark Mayor Cory Booker, Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick. Booker's comments that the attacks on Bain Capital somewhat nauseating. You represent Wall Street. You represent a lot of Wall Street investors and money. Are you as concerned about political attacks on private equity as some of your other fellow Democrats?
Well, I don't think there's any attacks on private equity. What the debate is about is Mitt Romney, and Mitt Romney is advocating himself as a job creator, someone who's done well in business, and so his record is absolutely relevant in this debate. And looking to see how many jobs he slashed while he was apparently creating jobs is really very much required in this debate, and I think it's not only legitimate but appropriate. So I don't think there's any attack on private equity per se.
Republicans in both chambers, Senator, have been talking about the debt limit again and trying to dredge that issue back up. We've heard from the CBO talking about potentially cataclysmic reaction if, in fact, we defaulted on some of our debt. What's your reaction to the fact that this is coming up again and coming up with the debt limit not even, the clock not even immediately ticking on the debt limit?
Well, obviously, this is a very serious issue, and we have to raise the debt ceiling as appropriate. We want to make sure the good faith and credit of America is never in doubt. But what we need to focus is on the economy, and how do we create a growing economy? How do we make sure we tighten our belts where we need to, cut spending where we can, but also make the kind of investments that create jobs?
Do you feel, as some Democrats do, that Republicans are risking the economic recovery for the sake of politics?
Well, I have concerns that a lot of this stuff has become very political. But at the end of the day, what we are charged with is coming together, working on a bipartisan basis to get things done, and we have to put our country first. And so I think people of goodwill can come together. I'm going to work very hard to make sure they do, and make sure that we are able to vote on policies and solutions that will help the businesses around New York create the jobs that we desperately need.
Lots to digest from our conversation, but as you could tell at the end there, she immediately pivoted the conversation away from an attack on private equity to an examination of Mitt Romney's record, an examination she, of course, calls legitimate. And
You tried, but she didn't really answer much.
Let's see. I'll tip my hat. Definitely handled by the Senate.
All right, let's talk about the Bain years, because that's what Obama wants to do. Cory Booker notwithstanding, whatever he did to his own political future, we can debate that ad nauseum. Obama's going to double down on this. The campaign said, they're definitely doing it.
And he should. It's a legitimate issue.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at it. If you claim that you're a job creator and you only want to talk about the jobs that you created, isn't that a ridiculous argument when you have people across the country that lost their entire careers because you were making money off of their backs?
But if enough Democrats stand up, Deval Patrick, governor of Massachusetts, said, Bain's a good company. Forget about even saying private equity in general. He said the name Bain and he put a good company next to it. Does that take away some of the ammo if Democrats weaken the argument of the commander-in-chief?
Absolutely. I think Cory Booker did real damage to the president's reelection strategy. I think Bain was their chief strategy, was to go after him on the Bain side and the private equity side, and I think the damage is done with Cory Booker. He spoke out and said what he thought.
It was a winner, but now I wonder.
Here's one. Romney continues to attack President Obama for bailouts, for bailing out Detroit, let's say. Mitt Romney also did the same thing with a private company, essentially trying to bail out some companies and make profit. The problem is he's got the federal government bankrolling and backing him. So he's got them as a fallback option. The president doesn't have that. Mitt Romney profiting personally from those decisions the president did.
All I'm saying is, if Democrats weaken your own argument, and now a surrogate weakens it, how much does that hurt?
We talk about how Newt Gingrich weakened Romney's argument. It doesn't hurt that much from somebody on your own side.
Maybe you're right.
But on the Republican side, as that attack comes in, as the hit comes in, all Republicans like me have to say is, well, Cory Booker said this, and Steve Ratner said that. Exactly.
We're going to jump to a break, everybody.